Boruto episode 34, The Night of the Shooting Stars. So this episode kind of focuses on Boruto and his feelings towards his friends and growing up and everyone kind of heading more towards the graduation ceremony, getting to the tuning exams and all of that stuff. And this wasn't a bad episode. It was definitely a filler, which is kind of what I expected it to be. And the episode, I guess technically it's the most recent episode that's come out since I'm now kind of a week behind with how I don't have Hulu anymore. But with the way it's all been playing out, I was like, okay, so, they're getting a little bit closer and they're touching on these little aspects. This I actually enjoyed. I was like, okay, it's touching on the friendship element of these characters and how a lot of people are transitioning beyond that to becoming full-fledged ninja, while Boruto is kind of still living in the moment of, I just want to hang out with my buddies and, just have fun, and that's pretty much it. And that seems to continue in the next episode as well, where that was him in his personal life, and then the next episode is him in, like, his, I guess, business life, if you want to call it, him going towards being a ninja or deciding not to be a ninja and doing something else with his life. So they're touching on these little elements as we get closer to the tuning exams. And this one I enjoyed because it was focusing on that friendship element of all these characters, and ultimately, everyone ends up seeing this ad, like some of the kids, like the Shikacho trio, they're sitting with Boruto, and then Mitsuki somehow pops up in between Boruto and Shikadai, which was a really funny moment to me. But he sees this dude on TV, and he's eating what's called the eternal carp. Like, it's supposed to be like this amazing, very hard to catch carp, and the fish tastes so good that when you eat it, you remember that taste forever. And Boruto's like, well, why don't we go catch one? Like, we all go together, we all, get all the main characters, and, we all get together and we, go get this carp. So it's actually kind of cool. We get to see everybody together. Metal is in there, Denki is in there, Iwabe, Sumini, is in there, which I actually thought was pretty cool. They did some interesting stuff with her. Obviously, Sada, Boruto, and Mitsuki are there, Shikacho trio. And it was pretty cool, them just kind of working together. They're all sitting out there, kind of bored, because, nothing's happening. And Boruto gets a bite, but unfortunately he pulls the line too hard and it snaps. Then this caretaker dude who knows Denki comes out and is like, oh yeah, the rain from yesterday kind of brought in, the current and everything, it rose the current and stuff, and it changed, like, the pattern of where the fish are, so they're, like, mostly hiding under the rocks, which I thought was interesting. They mentioned the rain twice, because when they first get there, it's like, wow, it looks great, and I think it was Sumini, where she was like, oh, I was really worried, because it rained yesterday, and I just thought that was kind of cool. That was, like, they didn't need to put it in there the first time, because you can have it pop up where it's like, oh, yeah, it rained yesterday, so this was a problem, but I feel like they did that on purpose to mention, like, here's this little thing that seems totally insignificant, like, oh, I was worried because of the rain. It's just a random thing someone might say, but then it actually came back, and it was like, I assume that was on purpose to have that weird little bit of foreshadowing in an odd sense, where it's like, oh, the rain from yesterday actually had an impact on the story. And it was just like, oh, that's cool, because it was just a throw-off thing, someone just saying something random, like, oh, I was worried because yesterday it rained, but it looks great today. And then the rain thing actually did end up impacting their trip, but just in a different manner. So I thought that was a cool little bit of writing there. But everyone's like, all right, well, yeah, that kind of sucks. It's getting late anyway. Let's all just head back to camp. And everybody's, just sitting around talking and stuff. And Boruto's kind of in this weird moment where it's like, I'm with everybody, but the point of this trip was for us to have the memory of, like, this epic moment. It wasn't just to hang out. It was to have, like, this epic adventure that we truly remember, because we technically kind of hang out every day, but it was meant to be something, like, really special and different. So he leaves to go catch this carp, and Sada and Sumeri end up falling behind him, and he ends up getting a bite. They talk and stuff, and Sumeri mentions how she's decided to pretty much become a shinobi with everybody else, which I kind of expected, but, they kind of go into the full detail of where she's at mentally right now, and it's her officially deciding she wants to stay in the village and truly grow up with these people that kind of accept her for who she is. So I thought that was cool, and then they go through Boruto actually getting a bite with this carp, and Sumini actually summons Nue, which I thought was really cool. She actually does, like, the bite with the blood across her hand, and, she summons the, tiny Nue and makes, like, the chakra armor around the line and everything so that the fishing rod won't break. And I was like, okay, that was pretty cool. We get to see Nue come back, which we haven't seen for quite some time. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then Sada kind of helps Boruto out, and then everybody hears, like, that first really big splash. So everybody comes along, and Metal is, like, throwing shurikens so that the carp won't swim a certain way. Mitsuki, like, electrifies the water, which I thought for sure should have killed the fish pretty much instantly. Like, once he did that, I was like, oh, that pretty much goes down the line of fishing with dynamite. Like, that should be, boom, that fish is dead. But apparently it's that tough that it can survive, lightning-infused water. So it was still just swimming around like crazy. Iwabe comes in and he, puts up a tiny mud wall for them to like brace themselves on, and it was actually really cool. I was like, this is actually kind of awesome. Everybody's just working together to have this cool moment where they catch the fish and stuff. So I love the way it played out, and then in the end they're able to pull it up, and Boruto does a shadow clone jutsu to like grab it in midair, and everybody enjoys the fish, and they have like this great epic moment, and I loved it. I was like, this is actually really cool. And there's the scene where, and I don't know if this was on purpose, maybe it was just a total coincidence, but when all the kids were standing together, kind of looking up at the moon, it was literally, it looked like one of the, I want to say it was one of the endings. There's obviously a million, but this is from like the original Naruto. This is during like when they were doing like after season 10, when there was like 3 full seasons of fillers. One of those seasons ends where it's all the kids on this hilltop, and they're just kind of either laying down or standing up, and they're looking up at the moon, and it looked almost identical to that scene when they showed all the kids standing. I was like, I don't know if that's on purpose, especially, not only was that like nearly 10 years ago, but that was also like one of the filler seasons that no one really cares about. But I always remember that opening. I like the song for that opening, which is why I remembered it so much, or for that ending. But the visuals for that was always, it was the kids, Naruto and everybody else when they were just, a little bit older, than the kids now. And it was all of them, like I said, standing on the hill in the moonlight. And I was like, it looked almost identical to this scene that they have. And I don't know if, like I said, that was on purpose. If somebody went back to the filler seasons of the original Naruto series and was like, let's get this random ending from the filler season to make it look this way, I have no idea. But it definitely reminded me of that. And I just thought that was really interesting. And I'll put a link in the description, because I'll definitely look it up so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. But it just looked really similar to that, because it was just all the kids standing together, and it was just like them just looking up at the moon. Like the color scheme, it was just night. So, that was pretty much it. But it was so weird. I was like, man, that looks just like that. It reminded me so much of that opening, which was just about Naruto hanging out with all of his friends, everyone just being there, together, minus Sasuke, because obviously that was after all the craziness. But it was weird. I was like, that's so odd how it instantly made me think of that really old, filler ending. So it was just crazy. But that's what I thought of when I saw that, and it was like, oh wow, that's like an odd bit of nostalgia for me. And I have no idea if that was on purpose or just happened to look that way. But it was a cool scene in general, all the kids together, and they had this grand adventure, and of course it's leading into the sort of 3-man squads and stuff like that, which it's weird how that's playing out, I feel, because, and maybe this is a part of it just being different from Naruto, where it was like, this is your 3-man squad. It seems like they almost pick their own squads now, where they just get to choose who they work with. It was like, Inoshika that's pretty much a given. But we had the other episode, actually the last episode, when Inojin was having difficulties. The team they went up against was Iwabe Denki and Metal Lee. So it's like, alright, are these teams official, or are these just the random teams? Because you have Sumari and then the other 2 girls that she's always hanging out with, so it's like, clearly they're going to be a squad. But Boruto, Sana, and Mitsuki, it's not like they choose to hang out like that. So they are going to be like forced into being, a squad. And they kind of touch on that a little with Sana talking to Sakura, which I thought was a cool moment, because that was another little thing that was kind of an additional moment where it's like, we've seen this before, and now we get to see it again, kind of, history repeating itself. So, it's just interesting. It's like, it doesn't seem like they are going to go that route, because I don't really know, admittedly, how that plays out, because when Boruto, like, first kicked off, it was just like, poof, yeah, here they are. They're already a team. Like, by the time the movie came out, they were just a team already, so they didn't go through that exact process. I assumed it was the same, but it doesn't really seem that way. They're getting so close to, they talk about graduation, but it's like, they don't already have the team set, so I guess because I think they are younger than, like, Naruto and everybody else when the original Naruto series started, so I guess they'll graduate, and then they're still going to go into the higher level. I guess it would be high school for them. I really don't know, because they're talking about, graduation's coming up and this and that, and we're all, falling apart. And then there's been no talk of, like, solidifying the 3-man squads. They've referenced it like once, and then it's just been Inoshika and then the other team with Metal Lee, Denki, and Iwabe, and somebody and the other 2 girls, but no one's really been like, this is our 3-man squad or anything like that. So it's weird how that's starting to kind of play out. Like, it's already there, we keep seeing it, but it's nothing official yet. So it's just weird how that's kind of playing out. But they're headed towards graduation, whatever that may or may not mean, and then eventually we will get the 3-man squads officially, and then of course going into tuning and the Boruto movie and all that stuff. But this is actually a decent episode, still a filler, but a lot like some of the other fillers, they always manage to pull out a pretty interesting emotional story from it, and I was like, all right, I can enjoy this. I'm curious to see how that'll play out in the next episode, where it seems more focused on the academic side of it, but it doesn't just focus on Boruto. It seems to focus on a lot of the different kids as well. So we might see that, and it'll obviously, your academic life is still your emotional, personal life. So they can still pull something good from that, and I'm looking forward to seeing it once I get a chance. But I'm definitely looking forward to that episode. But we'd love to know what you guys thought about this one. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, your least favorite parts about it, and I would love to know what you guys are feeling about the kind of the emotional range of how this show in general has handled the characters. I think they've done a fairly decent job as far as Boruto, aside from the fact that it's, and they didn't do it too much in the anime, but in the manga, that was like the whole thing is how he's supposed to be so different, but like everything he does is exactly like Naruto. So I keep bringing that up because that was like the focus of the manga in like the first couple of chapters, where it was just like, I'm nothing like my dad. And then the anime comes out and it's like everything he does is exactly what Naruto would do. And even he says it like sometimes in the anime where it's like, I don't want to be anything like my dad and stuff like that. I hate him. And then he does everything his dad would have done exactly. So aside from that, I think they handle the characters well, especially going through Sada's arc, kind of bringing those manga chapters to life. That was just a great arc for her, both manga and anime wise, developing her character, her getting the Sharingan. Even Chocho had a little bit of development in there too. And they've done some good stuff. Jean's thing was definitely filler, but that was actually entertaining to watch. So I enjoyed that. The Denki Iwabe episode was actually really, really good, where they were both trying to basically help each other. One was academic side, one was the ninja side, and they had to utilize those skills by the end of the episode. And they had to basically utilize those skills to actually save someone's lives rather than pass their tests and stuff. So it was like they've definitely done some really good filler episodes when they just focus on the actual characters evolving rather than here's just a random thing happening and it's a filler. This is actually one of those moments where it was good. So overall, I would say they handled the emotional aspect of the characters fairly well. And I am looking forward to seeing how that continues, especially knowing where it's headed for Boruto specifically. But like I said, we'd love to know how you guys feel they've handled the emotions of the kids, developing throughout these 30 or more episodes. And of course, just want to know what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.